Warden, I am not surprised it has come to this. And Alistair, if you were even remotely worthy of being called Marik's son, you would already be in the Landsmeet, now wouldn't you? You have torn this nation apart to oppose my lord, and never once tried to understand why he is a hero to Ferelden. But do not think you will get past me to desecrate the Landsmeet itself. The nobles of Ferelden will confirm my lord as regent, and we can finally put this to rest once you are gone. You say that with such righteousness. Loghain used to have that ring in his voice. He has not sounded that way in many months now. It is not so clear an enemy when it is your own people you fight. What was he supposed to do? You and Eamon were harassing him at every side, forcing him to empty the treasury to fight you. He never wanted a civil war. After Kaelin died, everyone was supposed to rally, come together to fight the Darkspawn without crying to Orlais for aid. He never anticipated Merric's bastard would challenge the throne and force this war. You think war is simple, don't you, Warden? You only fight monsters. No one sheds a tear over the death of an ogre. Torture is an ugly business, but sometimes it's the only way to learn what your enemy intends. And it is much harder to tell who the enemy is when all of them look like you. Kaelin was a fool. He grew up a spoilt child in his ancestor's palace. He never knew what it was to be hunted, to starve. Maybe the Grey Wardens killed him, or maybe my lord let him die of his own foolishness. Either way, it may have saved Ferelden. I am not so blind as you think, Warden. I saw the tension between Kaelin and Loghain. My lord is a man of fierce passions, none fiercer than defending this land. If Kaelin threatened that, but whatever he did, it was only in defense of Ferelden. I can end the threat you pose to Ferelden. To arms, men! Danger approaching.
Right.
My lords and ladies of the Landsmeet, Tyrn Loghain would have us give up our freedoms, our traditions, out of fear. He placed us on this path, yet we should place our destiny in his hands? Must we sacrifice everything good about our nation to save it?
A fine performance, Aemon. But no one here is taken in by it. You would attempt to put a puppet on the throne, and every soul here knows it. The better question is who will pull the strings.
Ah! Here we have the puppeteer.
Tell us, Warden, how will the Orlesians take our nation from us? Will they deign to send their troops, or simply issue their commands through this would-be prince? Where is the famous steadfastness of the dwarves? How much did it cost the Empress to buy your loyalty?
Some of us are curious, Loghain, about precisely what happened at Ostagar.
So, one of Kaelin's killers would dare speak of betrayal. You led our king to his death with your grandiose tales of griffins flying into battle.
The Warden speaks truly. My son was taken under cover of night. The things done to him. Some of them are beyond any healer's skill.
Hal was responsible for himself. He will answer to the Maker for any wrongs committed in this life, as must we all. But you know that. You were the one who murdered him. Whatever Hal may have done, he should have been brought before the Seneschal. There is no justice in butchering a man in his home.
Selling elves? Explain this, Loghain.
This is war. Did you believe it would be like the old tales? Knights with pennants flying over battlefields where all outcomes are decided simply and with honor. War is cruel. Every soul who fought alongside Marek knows this. And in it, there are no such things as innocence, only the living and the dead, and the degrees of guilt both bear. Sacrifices were made. If they were too great, the Maker will judge me for it. But enough of this. I have a question for you, Warden. What have you done with my daughter? You took my daughter, our queen, by force, killing her guards in the process. What arts have you employed to keep her? Does she even still live?
I believe I can speak for myself. Lords and ladies of Ferelden, hear me. My father is no longer the man you know. This man is not the hero of Riverdane. This man turned his troops aside and refused to protect your king as he fought bravely against the Darkspawn. This man seized Kaelin's throne before his body was cold and locked me away so I could not reveal his treachery. I would have already been killed, if not for this Grey Warden.
So, the Warden's influence has poisoned even your mind, Enora. I wanted to protect you from this. My lords and ladies! Our land has been threatened before! It's been invaded and lost and won times beyond counting. We Fereldans have proven that we will never truly be conquered so long as we are united. We must not let ourselves be divided now. Stand with me, and we shall defeat even the Blight itself!
The Warden! I'm with the Warden. Southreach stands with the Grey Wardens.
Waking Sea stands with the Grey Warden.
Dragon's Peak supports the Warden.
Western Hills is with you, Loghain. Maker help us.
I stand by Loghain. We've no hope of victory otherwise.
I stand with the Warden. The Blight is coming. We need the Grey Wardens.
Traitors! Which of you stood against the Orlesian Emperor when his troops flattened your fields and raped your wives? You fought with us once, Eamon. You cared about this land once. Before you got too old and fat and content to even see what you risk. None of you deserve a say in what happens here. None of you have spilled blood for this land the way I have. How dare you judge me? Then, let us end this. I suppose we both knew it would come to this. A man is made by the quality of his enemies. Marek told me that once. I wonder if it's more a compliment to you or me. Enough! Let the Landsmeet declare the terms of the duel.
It shall be fought according to tradition. A test of arms, in single combat until one party yields. And we, who are assembled, will abide by the outcome.
Will you face me yourself, or have you a champion? It is you or me the men will follow. So, let us fight for it. Prepare yourself.
On it. Let's get started.
I underestimated you, Warden. I thought you were like Kaelin, a child wanting to play at war. I was wrong. There's a strength in you that I have not seen anywhere since Marek died. I yield.
I didn't just hear you say that. You're going to let him live? After everything he's done? Kill him already!
Wait. There is another option. The Tairn is a warrior and general of renown. Let him be of use. Let him go through the joining. There are 3 of us in all of Ferelden, and there are compelling reasons to have as many Wardens on hand as possible to deal with the Archdemon.
The joining itself is often fatal, is it not? If he survives, you gain a general. If not, you have your revenge. Doesn't that satisfy you?
Absolutely not! Riordan, this man abandoned our brothers and then blamed us for the deed. He hunted us down like animals. He tortured you! How can we simply forget that? Joining the Wardens is an honor, not a punishment. Name him a Warden and you cheapen us all. I will not stand next to him as a brother. I won't! Loghain is a traitor. We need him like we need to be stabbed in the back. Or have you forgotten how his being a great general didn't help the last time? I didn't want to be king. I still don't. But if that's what it takes to see Loghain get justice, then I'll do it. I'll take the crown.
Listen to this. Can you see how disastrous a king he'd be? Putting his own selfish desires above the needs of his country? You can't seriously support him.
You're siding with her? How could you do this to me? You, of all people. What's wrong with you? He's repeatedly tried to kill us both, and you side with him over me? I can't do it. I can't. Ask me for a pound of my flesh, or all the gold in Loghain. But don't ask me to accept that monster as a brother. I guess I don't have any choice, do I? I'm leaving.
I'm afraid it's not so simple as that, Alistair.
You already got what you wanted. Your murdering father gets a place amongst the Grey Wardens. What else could you want from me?
Your life, unfortunately. So long as you live, rebellions can be raised in your name. Our land cannot endure another civil war. I must call for your execution. This is what you would ask? Very well. Though I think it a mistake. Alistair, you may leave on condition that you swear before this landsmeet that you renounce all claim to the throne for yourself and all your heirs.
That's what it'll take, huh? Fine. I don't want anything to do with this place or any of you people. Ever! I swear it! Time for me to go. You heard Honora. I do, or I get to join Duncan. Nice, huh? Have fun ending the Blight. Or whatever. I guess you made your decision, right? So goodbye.
And now, lords and ladies of Ferelden, there is still a Blight to defeat, and armies to gather. And I appoint this man to lead us in both. We will not allow this land to be further threatened by the Archdemon. Gather your forces, and await the Warden's command. On the morrow, we shall begin our struggle against the greatest threat Ferelden has ever faced. And we shall triumph over it, for we are Ferelden.
You are called upon to submit yourself to the Taint for the greater good. From this moment forth, You are a Grey Warden.
I understand.
So it's done. My father lives, and for good or ill, he is now a Grey Warden. Thank you for giving him the opportunity to undergo the ritual. It couldn't have been easy. I don't, to tell the truth. I am simply glad that he didn't end there in disgrace. Thank the Maker for small mercies. Arl Eamon has left for Redcliffe, and tells me that our armies have almost fully gathered there. I will be heading there myself. Bring your companions, and join us at Redcliffe Castle as soon as you are able. You have united for Eldon, Warden. Now we face the Blight.
I passed your test. Fate has a twisted sense of humor, it seems. I suppose you think I'm some sort of monster. More so since I survived your ritual. You keep striking at me, and I just refuse to die decently. Ah, now there's the venom I expected. Well, is that it? Surely you've more to say to me than that. Swear at me in Dwarven if you run out of common epithets. I assure you, I'll be just as wounded even when I don't know what you're saying. And now what? Am I to be some trophy of your victory? The defeated enemy you drag about on a leash wherever you go? Or have you some worse fate in mind for me? Yes, well, you can thank me for that later. I don't know what concession you want from me, Warden. I expect my word will not satisfy you. Indeed, I'd almost forgotten that. Thank you for the reminder. I think it's time we got to the point here. What do you want from me? My execution was all but arranged. If you'd wanted me dead, you could have had your wish at the Landsmeet. I assume, then, that you have something else in mind. What I want? What an odd question. I want to ride back to Denerim and sit in the war room and find no empty chairs at the table. I want to lose, nothing else. I want a line, clearly drawn, that I can defend. I want an end to this war. All of this can rightly be called my fault. Whether or not you can do better remains to be seen. But if you can make this the end, Warden, I will follow you, I swear it. Andraste, help us, then. We should speak no more of this at present. Time's wasting. Did you want something? Hate doesn't describe it. I've seen painted, masked lords beat an old farmer to death with riding crops. To this day, I don't know why. Is that hate? I saw good, sensible men fight armored chevaliers with nothing. No weapons, no armies, not even hope of success to see the occupation end. Is that hate? Nothing about war is right. It's a force of nature, like rain, or wind, or faith. It simply exists, and we deal with its consequences. It's a fine idea, peace. But it isn't part of who we are. Do you think the Maker abandoned us on a whim? No. He left us because we deserved it. In any case, there's no use discussing this. We have much work left to do. Very well, then. He was my friend. If he'd wanted to conquer the Fade, I would have led the charge. He nearly did. Merrick was never one to avoid his duty, and given his preference, he would have acknowledged his son no matter the circumstance. But he had more than his honor to think of. It would have ruined Rowan, after all. she'd be reduced to a concubine in the eyes of our neighbors and put Caelan's status as heir in question. So Merrick made the hard choice. Eamon offered to raise the boy, and that was that. I was turned by then, and a general. You can buy respect through birth or by bloodshed, I've found. But we've been idle long enough. We should get moving. There are men who inspire such devotion that everyone around would lay down their lives for him. And there are men who would come and go from this world, and no one notes it. What makes them so? Your guess is as good as mine. Merrick was remarkable. That's all I can say of him. I was hunting, well, poaching, to be entirely honest, when a boy my own age came stumbling out of the woods. He was so dirty, you'd have thought he'd been dug up out of the ground. Of course not. I had no idea who he was. He gave me a made-up name, told me he was fleeing Orlesians. He was bloody, exhausted, and obviously being hunted. I offered to take him to my father's camp. That's a story for another time, I'm afraid. I've gone on too long as it is. Very well, then. I suppose that depends on how much of the kingdom was left by then. Once the border was secure, the army would have regrouped to push back the Darkspawn in the south. We couldn't, especially after Ostagar. It wasn't an ideal plan, but it seemed necessary at the time. In any case, there's no use discussing this. We have much work left to do. Very well, then. Anora always did have a flair for the dramatic. She could have been a bard. It's a foolish question. I'm sure you think me capable of every sort of evil, but Anora is my only child. Is that a serious question? Is there someone else you know of who could stand up to the Landsmeet? But enough about Anora. We ought to get moving. Very well, then. So far as anyone could tell, she was the undisputed monarch of the whole world. She'd fall, skin her knees, and command them to stop stinging. It may have worked, too. She bleeds just like anyone. Or are you surprised that my daughter ever fell down? If you're expecting some particular insight into my daughter's character, I'm afraid I'm probably not the best source. I'm hardly impartial. You already know the answer to that. Politics. But this is not really the time or place to discuss my daughter. We have work to do. Very well, then. Let's see what this Warden has.
You're both here. Good. You're new to the Grey Wardens, and you may not have been told how an archdemon is slain. I need to know if that is so.
It is indeed. I, for one, am most intrigued to hear this.
So it is true. Duncan had not yet told you. I had simply assumed. Tell me, have you ever wondered why the Grey Wardens are needed to defeat the Darkspawn? Were that so, then any skilled warrior would suffice. The archdemon may be slain, as any other Darkspawn, but should any other than a Grey Warden do the slaying, it will not be enough. The essence of the beast will pass through the taint to the nearest Darkspawn and will be reborn anew in that body. The dragon is thus all but immortal. But if the archdemon is slain by a Grey Warden, its essence travels into the Grey Warden instead. The Darkspawn is an empty, soulless vessel, but a Grey Warden is not. The essence of the archdemon is destroyed, and so is the Grey Warden.
The Grey Warden that kills the archdemon perishes.
Yes. Without the Archdemon, the Blight ends. It is the only way. In Blight's past, when the time came, the eldest of the Grey Wardens would decide which amongst them would take that final blow. If possible, the final blow should be mine to make. I am the eldest, and the taint will not spare me much longer. But if I fail, the deed falls on you. The Blight must be stopped now, or it will destroy all of Ferelden before the rest of the Grey Wardens can assemble. Remember that. But enough. There will be much to do tomorrow, and little enough time to rest before it. I will let you return to your rooms.
Then this will be dealt with soon. One way or the other.
So it will. Let us hope it ends for the better.
Do not be alarmed. It is only I. I am well. 'Tis you who are in danger. I have a plan, you see. A way out. The loop in your hole. I know what happens when the Archdemon dies. I know a Grey Warden must be sacrificed, and that sacrifice could be you. I have come to tell you that this does not need to be. I know a great many things. How I know is not quite as important as what I am offering you, however. I offer a way out. A way out for all the Grey Wardens, that there need be no sacrifice. A ritual, performed on the eve of battle, in the dark of night. Perhaps, but that price need not be so unbearable, especially if there is much to be gained. All I ask is that you listen to what I have to offer, nothing more. What I propose is this. Lay with me, here tonight, and from our joining, a child will be conceived. The child will bear the taint, and when the Archdemon is slain, its essence will seek the child like a beacon. At this early stage, the child can absorb that essence and not perish. The Archdemon is still destroyed, with no Grey Warden dying in the process. Think about what I offer you. The chance to avoid death. Or better yet, the chance to slay the Archdemon and live as a hero. No Grey Warden has ever done this. In return, I conceive a child. One who will be born with the soul of an old god. After this is done, you allow me to walk away, and you do not follow. Ever. The child will be mine to raise as I wish. As you wish. Allow me to say that what I seek is the essence of the old god that once was, and not the dark forces that corrupted it. Some things are worth preserving in this world. Make of that what you will. No, you never will. This is all I ask in return for freeing you from the burden the Grey Wardens have placed upon you. I do not wish to tell you. Ignoring that after but one night it could barely be called a child, no, it will not be hurt. It will be changed. Then you have decided? This is what my mother intended when she sent me with you. She was the one who first gave me this ritual and told me of what I was meant to do. This does not surprise you, does it? Did you not wonder why Flemeth saved your life? Why she aided you? This is why. What is important is that I am offering this to you now. It will work, and it will save your life. Why? Because of Lilianna? Do you truly believe that she would condemn you or any other Grey Warden to death when it could be avoided? Consider the possibility that Riordan may not be there to make the final blow as he plans. What then? Do you run away? Do you let Loghain take the blow instead? Allow him to die a hero and overshadow you? And what if he does not make it to the Archdemon? Would you truly choose death rather than lay with me for one night? Would you deny yourself the tomorrows and all its rewards? I see. There is, of course, another option. I speak, of course, of Loghain. He is now a Grey Warden, just as you are, and would also suffice for the ritual. The trick, of course, would be to get him to comply. To me, he would not listen, but to you, I think he just might. A wise decision. I shall wait here then while you go and speak with Loghain. I urge you to be convincing.
I'm surprised you're still awake. I was also surprised to see the Marsh Witch outside your room earlier, glowering quite intensely, even for she. Is something amiss? And it involves me in some capacity? I see. I would ask if you were joking, but of course you're not, are you? I should never underestimate your capacity to do the unexpected, but this seems a stretch even for you. So, you intend to save us from the Archdemon through, well, this ritual? What kind of magic demands such an act? A child? With me as the father and the Marsh Witch as the mother? I cannot think of anything more ludicrous, nor why you or she would even be interested in such an outcome. I would rather not speak to her at all. Even so, none of this is necessary. If Riordan fails, simply let me take that final blow. Let me make amends for what I've done, if it comes to that. Surely not a request made out of sentiment. We're hardly comrades in arms. No. I wish no part in this. Do not ask it of me. You could order me to obey you, yet you do not. If this is truly what you think is wise, then I will do as you ask. Let us find the Marsh Witch and do this thing quickly before I change my mind.
'Twould seem your talk is done.
The witch wishes to get right to the point, it seems.
What is it to be, then? Has a decision been reached?
Not so quickly. I have a question about this child that will supposedly be born of this.
Interesting. Honesty wouldn't have been my first choice.
I will do this, only if I can be sure that this child will not be used to plague Ferelden. Nora does not need a little brother to appear and lay a claim on her throne.
The child would never know of its father, and I will never return to Ferelden. That I swear.
I will accept that.
Let us go somewhere more private, Loghain. This will not take long at all.
We have gathered all the forces we can. The Darkspawn Horde is sure to reach the capital before us. So we must race to Denerim as quickly as we can. The lives of many thousands hang in the balance. We must not forsake them. You have gathered an army to replace the one lost at Ostagar, Grey Warden. Let us pray that it will be enough.
Before us stands the might of the Darkspawn Horde. Gaze upon them now, but fear them not. The man you see beside me is a dwarf, raised to the ranks of the Grey Wardens. This is not his home, and yet still he fights with honor and passion. He has survived despite the odds, and without him, none of us would be here. Today, we save Denerim! Today, we avenge the death of my husband, your King Caelan! But most of all, today, we show the Grey Wardens that we remember and honor their sacrifice! For Ferelden! For the Grey Wardens!
And then
It was over. With the Archdemon dead, the Darkspawn horde quickly crumbled. Most fled back into the deep roads. They would remain a threat in the years to come, but the Blight had been ended before it had truly begun. Ferelden had been saved, and the entire kingdom rose up to joyously greet its queen. Grey Wardens stood redeemed, and a new age had begun. But at what cost?
My friends, we are gathered to celebrate those responsible for our victory. Of those who stood against the Darkspawn siege of Denerim, there is one in particular who deserves commendation. The one who led the charge against the Archdemon and killed it remains with us still. An inspiration to all he saved that day. Ladies and gentlemen, I present the hero of Ferelden, the first Grey Warden to defeat the Blight since Garahel 4 centuries ago. Grey Warden, it is hard to imagine how you could have aided Ferelden more. I think it only appropriate that I return the favor. Is there any boon you might request of Ferelden's queen? As you wish. The crown of Ferelden shall ever be grateful for your deeds. Let it also be known that the Arling of Amaranthine, once the land of Arlhow, is now granted to the Grey Wardens. There they can rebuild, following the example of those who went before them. What are your plans? Will you remain with the Grey Wardens? You are no doubt correct. Having you near at hand would be a great relief. There is a group of eager Ferelden citizens waiting outside to get a look at their hero. I suggest you make at least a brief appearance before they storm the gate. Just tell the guard at the door when you are ready.
So here we are. The conquering hero has won the day, and now he takes his bow and exits the stage. A fine ending. Yes. Yes, he most certainly does. You know, I can't help now but think of my vision. The Maker sent me to help you, and look what you did. It's a miracle. It truly is. So, if I heard right, you'll be staying here in Denerim. As it so happens, my plan is to do exactly the same thing. I'm thinking that spending some time in one place might be a nice change of pace. At any rate, I should let you get back to your celebration before someone drags you away. I look forward to seeing you again afterwards.
So it appears that Riordan was wrong. I find it difficult to believe that he deliberately misled us. Have you another explanation for what happened? I should have known. The witch disappeared not long after the battle and has not been seen since. I assume this was expected. Still, the Orlesian Grey Wardens have been persistent in their questions. I intend to keep any thoughts on the matter to myself. I understand you will be remaining here. I've been tapped to lead up the Grey Warden recruitment efforts here in Ferelden. Anora's influence, no doubt. I would have preferred she not interfered. I know. Let us put an end to the chatter here. I'm sure neither of us has the stomach for it. Go and return to your celebration. Regardless of what I might think, you ended the Blight. You deserve your accolades.